Welcome everybody, this is part 2 of the Lords of Magic GS5R3 mod tutorial.
Lords of Magic.
I'm going to continue going through and I'm going to show some things about more changes in the game. You start out with a warrior, explain some of the stuff about warriors. Since warriors are generally the starting class for anybody who's new to the game. And in the last tutorial, you'll, if you saw that one, hitting the asterisk key for the Lord's name will actually create a randomized name. But this is basically to help explain some of the stuff about the mod and also going through with warriors. Now you'll see there in the bottom left that my champion's name is not the asterisk key, it's actually a randomized name. And another thing you'll notice is that a lot of the windows are transparent with yellow text. That's something I did deliberately to give a new look to the game, sort of a fresh look, and a transparent background sort of looks neat because you can still see the things behind it. Okay, so I'm going to open up the information window, and one of the things you'll notice immediately is that there's just a lot of information here. And the Dark Warlord is his name was changed to the Executioner, and champions also come with a first name and a surname. So they have a name and a surname. The surname here would be Vex, and if you can pronounce that one, that's his first name. Another thing you'll definitely notice here is that the inventory screen, you have 2 more inventory slots. So you have a total of 5 instead of 3. Those are the 2 new ones that are added. And I'll just basically go through all the stats that you may not be familiar with. Here's your attack rate or rate of attack, which for missile units it'll be rate of fire. It's just a different thing for missile units. It also helps you to let you know that they are missile units. Hit recovery. Up top is melee resistance and missile resistance, so you take 25% less damage from missile attacks. Sight radius, health recovery inside bonus, and health recovery outside unmoved. The inside and outside get combined together whenever you're resting inside. The inside health recovery is just a bonus whenever you're inside and unmoved. Outside, he would only gain 2 hit points unmoved, and then if he has moved, he'd only gain 1. Luck is a stat. It's actually been a stat in the original, but it was never really implemented to be a stat, which I took advantage of using that as a stat, so that can come into play later on. You also have your stealth factor, or known internally in the game as stealth noise factor, and this is average magic resistance. So it takes the sum of all 8 of your magic resistances and then divides it by 8. You have an average of 12 magic resistance. So, I mean, that's sort of an indicator of how much magic resistance you got. And then also with artifacts, let's open up the artifact window. I'll get back to some more of the stuff here. Looks pretty neat if you're someone who's new to it. You definitely have a lot more icons. You have 2 rows of 7 stat icons. The text is also colorized and also smaller. So you can tell that, by the text that this is a death artifact. It casts a death spell. It's Darkblade. Look at the portrait. Come on. I mean, you got everything here. And you also have this icon over here, which is a sort of a null set 0. That's just basically to close the window. I mean, that slash through it should help you know that, okay, we're getting this out of the way. Alright, you also have over in the top left corner, you can't see it right now, but I'll go ahead and arrange so you can, unequip the artifact. You can actually destroy artifacts in the game now. Now, why would you want to destroy an artifact? Well, maybe you just conquered a party and they have a bunch of crappy mana potions or health potions that you can't use. You just want to get rid of them because they're taking up inventory space, and that's one use for it. Or if you're playing in multiplayer and you're about to be attacked by somebody, you don't want them to get that particular artifact, you can get rid of it. Now, there are stipulations as far as artifacts go. You cannot destroy an artifact if it is equipped, and you can only destroy an artifact if it's something you own. So if you're spying on somebody, and well, I don't even think you can look at artifacts on the people that you're spying on, but if you could, you wouldn't be able to destroy it because you don't own it. You're not the owner. Some information up here. This is the barter value of the artifact, and the barter value is its worth in trade, and also has an effect on stealing for thieves. This is artifact charges. Artifact charges typically are, you can't, once the charges are used up, you can't use them anymore. But I have implemented a way where charges will return upon, the passing of 3 turns, or 3 turns or so if they're equipped. If it's a scroll artifact, like a scroll spell, it'll recharge, probably 1 charge every 3 turns. If it's equipped, but if it's not equipped, all scrolls will recharge once every 7 turns. So that's something to think about. Yeah, let me go back and continue with some more of these things up here. This number right here is the barter value of the unit. That's an indicator of how powerful the unit is, and also its worth on trade. Its exact worth, I don't know. It's sort of a floating thing. You also have icons here, such as your rally flag. It lets you know that the unit can rally. You have the can walk flag. It lets you know that the unit can walk. It can't fly and it can't swim. And then this is the berserk flag, so it lets you know that the unit can berserk. I'll get to that red and blue flag here in just a moment. I'm going to open up the dark javelins. As you can see, this is rate of fire. It's a different icon. It sort of lets you know that, hey, this unit has a ranged ability. Now this is the dismiss/disband icon. Heirs used to be able to be dismissed or disbanded, but I took that out. So people don't do it by accident, or if they're in multiplayer, etc., etc. So you can you can delete units that way. There's no hotkey for that yet. This is the can aimed flag. With the Control A hotkey, or with the button in the interface down here, you should be able to use an aimed attack ability. And then the V here means volunteer. He has no upkeep, so volunteers don't have upkeeps, and you can't train volunteers just yet. I've tried figuring out a way, haven't been able to do it yet. But volunteers have no upkeep. And your starting party is always going to be volunteers in the mod. Now, this icon right here, this is the leader flag. You see that reddish flag right there that he's got? That's sort of a special bonus for leaders on hard mode. You can get rid of that flag. All you got to do is, well, you can right-click it, and then it'll show basically the information on the banner. And it's an invisible artifact, and it's something that's always equipped. And you can delete that. But there's also another way to delete it. Just left-click it. If you want to get rid of that, you can have the traditional double-pennant banner. Or you can left-click it again and get it back. That's only for hard mode, so that's something to consider. And also with experience, you can see how many experience points you got. And he's somewhere between level 2 and level 3. And even though he's got maximum mana, non-wizards can't use mana. They don't have any current mana. So, no go there. Alright, let's take this into combat. Alright, now in single-player combat, you can use the arrow keys to scroll around, and you can also use the page up and page down to change the orientation of combat if you need to. You can't do those in multiplayer because there's problems with missiles, spell missiles. The game will lose track, and then one computer screen will see one thing. So if you use arrow keys in combat, in multiplayer, in the unmodded original version of the game, it'll definitely cause desynchronization in multiplayer. And also, you'll notice here in combat, this is hard mode, by the way. You'll have 3 scouts in the enemy party. Those are sort of there as a distraction, so that your missile guys will attack the guys that come closest first. So it's more of a distraction, sort of a challenge to the player to make them you know, not just be lazy. Now there's an ability known as parry. In the original unmodded game, it was the defend icon on the unit. It would be a unit defending itself, and that would parry. That would take half of his attack power and add it to defense, and he wouldn't be able to attack or move. He would stay stationary in place. So 12 plus 9, that's 21 armor. That's pretty high. I think it would be enough to withstand any damage that these guys are capable of dishing out. So yeah. Also, infantry are pretty good at parrying attacks because they got really high attack. Infantry never gain armor. That's sort of intentional. Well, I mean, I can't say it's sort of intentional. It is intentional.
Death. Helmets over the top, moving.
Blood will flow.
Death shall.
Now, as I may have stated before, or I will come around to stating, is that I have rebalanced units, especially military units, so that one type of military unit is better than the other, or is better at dealing with the other. I'll get to that in just a moment. Alright, I win the battle. Another thing you'll notice is that you have information here in yellow numbers. Those are the barter values, and the smaller numbers, how much experience the party gained. And then individually, each unit has gained some experience. You may notice that there's a little discrepancy in the amount of experience dished out. That has to do with a champion's amount of wisdom that they have. There's a bonus. Basically, for every 10 wisdom, you get like a plus 1% bonus to experience from combat. And he has 11 wisdom, so he got, you know, just that 1% bonus. That was enough to give him plus 3 experience from the battle. Alright. I want to show you something. Is using the Control P hotkey, you can open up an army statistics window. Your total combined army stats, which would be attack factor, total attack, total ranged attack, armor factor, and the combined levels of all units. Then you have the best of the party's stats and who they are. And then you also have the averages. And then the total barter value. Barter value is an army's power, and it's also its army's worth. For some units, especially with military units, that barter value will drop significantly if he's, you know, taking a lot of damage and there's only one guy left in that military unit. You know, the hit points will be showing in red. That means he'll have 1/3 or less than 1/3 of its total life left. And then this number will drop significantly, and he'll be easier to defeat if you were to auto-calculate combat. So that explains that. Also, if you're interested, there's Control K. That'll open up the hotkeys. It'll list some hotkeys, and then you can also print out the hotkeys. And also in the Army Statistics window, as I showed you before, Control P will allow you to save some data. And another thing is I don't know if I covered this before. I probably didn't. The scrolling speeds, one thing you'll definitely notice is that you have options to control scrolling speeds, which is very significant because in the unmodded game, the default scrolling speeds is like 15 or 20, and those are like really, really fast. I mean, look at where I had them. I had them at 4:2. Now, this is Overland. You know, scrolling is okay. I'll use the brace hotkey to increase the scrolling speed. Actually, I might want to decrease that to about 5. It's pretty fast. If I get around 7 or 8, it'll get much faster. 12. Now, if I go around the world pretty quick, you'll start to notice that sprites get out of alignment. You know, my party should be over here. There is a way to fix that. You can center on your party with the space bar, or press the home key since the leader is in the party, or I can press the end key to center on my capital. But an easy thing to do The easiest thing to do would be just to use the space key, but you can also use the magnifying glass. And then you'll be that much closer to finding your lord, or your currently selected party. So the scrolling speeds, they do create that problem. So you know a way to fix it now if you've watched this tutorial. I'm going to continue with another combat, and I'm going to explain a few things. Berserk does have a hotkey. It is B. Berserk just basically makes the unit extremely vulnerable to attacks.
Death shall
Treats his armor as if it were 0,
Yes, my lord.
but adds all that armor that he has to his attack power.
Remove.
It's not a good idea to try Berserk
I breathe.
Halberds
with
ready.
units that are missile units, because they won't do anything. They'll just sort of like
Spears
flinch
ready.
and stand there.
Spears away. Give 'em the shaft. My spears will skewer them.
So Control D is the hotkey. You'll have to select each individual military unit to utilize that, because that's just the way it's set up. I've tried making arrangements where that would be fixed, but I haven't been successful in that.
We shall skewer 'em. Blood will with spears.
I shall this day shall perish. Who shall I slay? For darkness. Who shall I slay?
A good strategy is to attack and then use parry immediately after you attack. That way you can get the benefits of attacking and also having that boost of armor.
Shall perish.
Some might say it's almost criminal, it's almost cheating, but that's the way the game was originally set up, and that's the way I have wanted to keep it. For those who have the ability to micro, but micro wasn't a term back then. Those who have the ability to micro and manage their army in combat, they should have the benefit of being able to parry
I breathe.
and
Death.
just take advantage of that and be able to survive better. Now, one thing on hard mode is that you start with a follower, and I've also changed to where you could actually utilize resources for generating resources with a level 0 capital. And also, if your Great Temple is taken by another player and you haven't taken it yet, your capital won't get upgraded automatically from level 0 to level 1. There's actually a way to fix that, and that is with the one follower that is in the capital.
I breathe.
So there's a way to upgrade your capital. I want to show you some of the building information now.
Countless have died to become one of our order, and countless
It's
will
updated. It
continue
looks
to
nice.
try.
There's definitely a lot of things I could say about it. Pretty much the same way as artifacts, colorized text. Dark Warrior. Let's take a look at that. It displays all its stats. You can also, you can still train or hire units. However, hiring mercenaries is a little bit different in the mod. After you get a level 0, or after you get a level 1 capital, you can no longer train mercenaries from your nearby buildings. You'd have to go to a village, build a barracks there, and you can only train... you can't train mercenaries, in fact, but you can only hire mercenaries from buildings that come off of villages. And mercenaries come into play with experience based on the turn number and also based on the level of the building. And, since your capital buildings at level 0, they will have they'll have that much more experience that they'll start with compared with mercenaries hired off of villages. It's just basically to help players early on with that bonus experience for mercenaries. So, there's definitely benefits here and there. So, anyways, I'm going to conclude the tutorial here. Conclude part 2. So, stick around. Maybe you'll see part 3. And thanks for watching, and see you later.